Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Leslie Reynolds. I'm the acting superintendent of New River Gorge National Park and Preserve, the 63rd and newest park in our system. I'd like to welcome Secretary of Interior Haaland, Senator Manchin, community members, the Friends of New River, park staff, local community, and of course the media. It continues to be a very exciting time for the park. We're looking forward to a very busy season and of course continued collaboration with the local communities, partners, and stakeholders. And with that, I would like to introduce Senator Manchin.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Acting Superintendent Reynolds, for the kind introduction. Let me just say, all of you, what a great visit we've had. To have Secretary Haaland, and also we had Secretary Granholm yesterday, and then we also had Brian Deese from the President's White House, and basically he's our policy, as far as financial policy advisor to the President. To have everybody here at one time with all their staffs means a great deal for all of us in West Virginia to be able to showcase what we have and what we have to offer. For Secretary Haaland to take a couple of days to spend with us has been really special. We became friends basically through her process of becoming our Secretary of Interior and bringing her staff together. And we have Rachel, her Chief of Staff, right back there, who's a West Virginia lady, a young lady who we're so proud of from Wood County. And if anyone knows West Virginia, it'll be Rachel, and she's able to whisper in the Secretary's ear every now and then, tell her the special things about us. But we're sitting in a place right now which is the newest national park in the system. I don't know if any national park has ever taken off the way this one has. We've increased the amount of visits by 60%. We weren't sure what to anticipate. We knew it's usually a 20 to 25% hit, and we were anticipating that. But to have a 60% hit was something that we didn't anticipate. So with that, it's a challenge. It's a good problem to have. Parking, where Secretary Haaland's here, she's seeing that, the demand and what we have. We have a lot of different concerns about water qualities. Things we're working on here is going to make things a lot better because of the attention and basically the demand from the people. The citizens of America want something and somewhere to go and something to do. And they're finding right here in their backyard, this is the best. And we're probably closer to a population base than any other park. To have this many people within a 2 to 3 or 4 hour drive is unbelievable. So that has, and then COVID, but putting everybody into hibernation for over a year, and the pent-up demand just to get out and do something made everything what we call a perfect storm. So let me just say, as chairman of the Senate Energy and Natural Resource Committee, we worked hard to designate this area, along with my colleague, Shelley Moore Capito, Senator Capito. It was a joint effort by all our teams and our energy group, our interior group, David Brooks and his team, and we got Brian Petit and that whole group here that really made this happen. They had to put the language to it. They had to make sure it fit in the confines and within the code, and they did a great job. We've made tremendous investments just in the Park and Preserve in the last year. The bipartisan infrastructure bill that we passed, that you all know about, $1.2 trillion. We allocated $3.3 million for repairs and improvements here. We had another on the Appropriations Committee. We fought for $1.5 million to the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, which they were able to do with a trail connectivity to the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve. And then on top of that, we had the Great American Outdoors Act, which we authorized $280,000 to address the deferred maintenance, and there's much more coming. Because we have to be ready to take care of the citizens that will come here. I'm just proud to be part of seeing this come to fruition. It's something when, sometimes it takes years and years and years to get these parks into the system. This one was ready to go. We kept the preserve basically to continue the tradition and the heritage we have here in West Virginia, and the people have used this land forever for hunting and hiking. We didn't want to disturb that whatsoever. And working that into a national park now for the entire nation, 330 million people, was pretty special. So I'm very, very pleased. And at this time, I'm even more pleased to introduce our Secretary of Interior, the former Congresswoman from New Mexico, who's been a dear friend, and a dear friend to all of us, and definitely to the lands of America, Secretary Deb Haaland.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. It's very nice to be here this morning. And first, Senator Manchin, I want to acknowledge how wonderful your staff has been the whole trip. And it's wonderful that all of you came. Usually you have one or two staff, but they're all here. And I'm
not going to say bright-eyed.
And so I just appreciate all the hard work that all of you do, because I know that you serve the public as much as your boss does, and I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to spend time with all of you. Good morning, everyone. It's such a treat to find ourselves in the outdoors just as springtime is coming into view. I can't wait to come back when the trees are green and or in the fall when they're turning again. Really happy to spend a second day with Chairman Manchin. Thank you so much for the day we had yesterday. It seemed like it was a whole week and a day or something because we did so much. But very happy to be hosted again by you. And of course, Chairman, we're so grateful to have your leadership on the Senate Energy and Appropriations Committees to support the department's efforts to preserve wild and wonderful spaces like the New River Gorge right here in West Virginia, and of course other parks and public lands across the country. I often say that I have one of the best jobs in the world, and finding myself in New River Gorge National Park and Preserve certainly helps to underscore that. As we stand here among one of the oldest rivers on the continent, you can feel the rich culture and natural history these 70,000 acres of land really are, and actually how they enhance the people of West Virginia's lives. But as the chairman knows, and our amazing National Park Service staff know, with the bounty of a great national park comes a significant set of challenges and work to do. Aging infrastructure, heavily trafficked trails, and increased visitation are among some of the issues that our park system are constantly facing. New River Gorge is expecting even more visitation going forward, and that's really wonderful because we want more people out in the outdoors, but we absolutely need to be ready. So thankfully, the Department of the Interior is hard at work to ensure that this park receives the infrastructure investments it needs so that people can continue to access the park's rugged Whitewater River and its deep, spectacular canyons for many years to come. As part of this long-term commitment to supporting New River Gorge's new status as a national park, we're proud that the department is making an estimated $9.2 million investment in the New River Gorge and nearby units just this year. That is, thanks to the bipartisan omnibus bill that the president signed into law early this week. That bill also includes an important $1.5 million project that Chairman Manchin helped secure to connect the National Park Service trails here with the local trails in the community, which will benefit both local residents and visitors alike. We're also moving forward on an additional $1.8 million investment to replace the outdated visitor center exhibits at the Canyon Rim Visitor Center, which, when completed, will help ensure we're delivering a world-class experience for those who come to this park, not just to be in nature, but to learn from nature. President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law will also help make critical infrastructure investments in the park. In addition to historic funding for climate resiliency initiatives and legacy pollution cleanup, the law provides for a 5-year reauthorization of the Federal Lands Transportation Program. West Virginia is set to receive important funding from this program over the next 5 years, which will help fund planned roads and trails work, including $3.3 million to repair Kennard Road here at the River Gorge over the next year. And thanks to several other funding sources, including the National Park Service's annual budget and the Great American Outdoors Act, which I was very proud to support as a member of Congress, we're set to make major investments in New River Gorge that will enhance the visitor experience and protect this gorgeous landscape. In partnership with local businesses, community groups, and the state and local governments, we're taking a holistic approach to approaching the investments in New River Gorge. As we seek to preserve some of the oldest and most diverse ecosystems in the world, we're also focused on supporting a robust outdoor recreation economy. which creates jobs, connects people to nature, and helps cultivate the next generation of stewards of this earth. I'm so pleased to be here and so appreciative of all the hard work that goes into maintaining a place of unmatched beauty and wonder. And so thank you all so much. Before I close, I just want to acknowledge that our dear friend and colleague, Don Young, the Dean of the House, the longest serving member of the House, U.S. House of Representatives, passed away last night. And I know that Chairman Manchin and I both acknowledge that he left a tremendous legacy for the people, not only of Alaska, but of this country. If anyone loved the outdoors, it definitely was Mr. Young. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, that we'll miss our dear friend. Thank you.
If you've ever heard stories about the Yukon, Don was mayor of Fort Yukon probably 55 years ago. And he moved up there as a young person. The adventure and the thrill of moving into a wild frontier of Alaska. And then he became the mayor, and then he became one of our first congresspeople over 50 years. He was something. He was a force to be dealt with. But he was such a kind, gentle person, big person in stature too. But just when Secretary Haaland was going through her nomination process and her confirmation process, which goes before the committee that I was chairing, so we were so happy, and I heard Don was going to come, and here's Don, a staunch Republican, and the country's been separated because politics have gotten so toxic and crazy. We're trying to bring people together and showing that we can work together. We didn't know that much about Secretary Haaland at that time. We didn't have much time to interact before, and then I'm thinking, she's got to be good. If Don Young's coming over, she's got to be something special. And boy, Don called that one right. He really did. And I think that we think so highly of Don, but basically I know that Secretary Haaland and I both remember that period of time when Don gave his testimony of why this lady should be the newest Secretary of the Interior. And for that, I'm very, very grateful, and our thoughts for Don right now and his family. Let me just say, we've had a great visit for 2 days. I know the Secretary Haaland's going to spend a little bit more time, hopefully, in seeing some of the unbelievable sights that we have here. But the need that we have, she understands, and her staff, Rachel, they all understand what we're working with and what we have, challenges ahead. People are coming. They're not slowing down. They're going to be coming more and more because it's easy. It's accessible. It's easy to get here. And it's a really good weekend. Usually you go to some of the parks, you have to plan a big vacation to get out west or do whatever, the bigger parks. So Acting Superintendent Reynolds, we appreciate you. I appreciate your entire staff. Let me say to all the staff of the park, you are the window to our state. You're the first impression people are going to receive when they come here. The greetings that you give them, the generosity that you show them, and basically the West Virginia hospitality that we show everybody, it stays with them, and they'll want to come back. They'll go tell their friends and family members and everybody where to come. You have to go to West Virginia. And the more they come here, the better we're all going to be. So I'm just very appreciative for the dedicated staff and all of my staff. I appreciate all of you all. You know more than you know. And I don't tell you enough, but I think hopefully you feel it. And anyway, just a great visit. Secretary Haaland, you're welcome back anytime. We are going to make you an honorary West Virginian. And I'll make sure I get that to Rachel, and Rachel will make sure that you have a certificate in good standing. Thank you all. Thank you. All
the microphones are on the top.
Oh, microphones up here. Okay. Any questions? Secretary Haaland, I'm happy to take some questions if you all have them. And if you have enough, we're happy for that too.
Sure. Can you talk about your if you have had some conversations about abandoned landmines, repurposing and reclaiming those?
We sure have, and that's Secretary's here.
That's yesterday was pretty much all about abandoned mine lands. We talk about it all the time. We're moving that issue forward, billions of dollars through the bipartisan infrastructure law to make sure that we can reclaim those lands. I've traveled in Appalachia for the last couple months. We've seen what those reclamation dollars can do, turning big coal, waste heaps into recreational areas. Folks have replanted groves of native trees in areas that used to be coal waste. So I am very, very proud of being able to implement those funds. Chairman Manchin was a staunch supporter of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Together, we're going to get this done. Abandoned mine lands, capping those orphan gas wells so that methane doesn't leak into the air anymore. It will change the lives of our children. Thank you.
Let me just say that to add to that, West Virginia has done the heavy lifting for over a century, and basically we have the country we have now because of the energy we produced here. But as we transition into another energy cycle, if you will, and how we're going to provide energy for our country, you can't leave this state behind or any other state that did the heavy lifting. So with that, we had an awful lot of lands that were basically used for the mining that we extracted, for the steel that we made, and the ships and the guns and the factories that we built. West Virginia has done a heavy lifting there, and we appreciate that. But now, President Biden has basically dedicated the whole coal field revitalization. And we've had a lot of people talk about it for a long time, but this is the first time we've ever had money put to revitalizing coal communities because of what they've done. He and I have had conversations, many of them, and when he first got elected, I said, Mr. President, the problem with many administrations, they forget how we got to where we are today as a country. He said, Joe, we're not going to leave anybody behind. And now we're coming through with that. And the Secretary's here. $11 billion was put in for AML, abandoned mine lands. Those lands need to be put back into productivity. And that's what we're trying to do. And recreation is a big economic driver, if you will. Another $6 billion was put in just to cap orphan wells so we prevent the methane from leaking into the atmosphere and causing us greenhouse gas. So we're doing everything we can in a bipartisan way to fix the things that we know we can.
Thank you, Bob.
Everybody okay?
I'd just like to thank you guys for what you're doing for the state of West Virginia and the nation.
Well, I want to thank the Secretary too, because for her showing the attention she has and knowing how special this is to us. West Virginia is a special place, and we have a lot of history here. We were birthed out of the Civil War, so that was a tremendous division in our country that we had to heal, and we have done that, and West Virginia provided the energy that this country's needed. We provided a lot of the hardwood timber that built most of the East Coast. People don't know that either. After 1865, when people were fighting, this is one of the major war areas of the Civil War, they saw the tremendous resources we had. And so with the natural gas that we had, the coal that we had, but also the unbelievable hardwood timber forest that we had, was just unbelievable into the growth and the birth of America. So I'm proud of who we are. I hope you are too. And I'm proud of those who come here for the first time to see what we have to offer. With Secretary's help, with all of you working together, we're going to make it a much more better opportunity, bigger parking, better places to stay, more development, and that's what it's all about. Thank you all. God bless.